Made in Hollywood.
You are the senior astronomer at the SETI Institute. First off, what is the SETI Institute and what exactly do you do there?
SETI is just an acronym that stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. But at the SETI Institute, we're interested in any life in space. It could be pond scum on Mars. It doesn't have to be intelligent life. But I have to say that this is a lot of fun because not only you're trying to answer really big questions, is there anybody out there, right? I mean, there are 1 trillion planets in the Milky Way galaxy that we live in. 1 trillion! And we can see 100 billion other galaxies, each with their trillion planets. It's hard to believe that this is the only thing happening that's interesting, right? So it's a big question, I like that. And it's kind of like working puzzles. It's a technical challenge, so you know, it's like maybe being a computer programmer. It's always interesting.
The Senior Vice President of Worldwide Product Production and Fulfillment handles the consumer experience of home entertainment after theatrical distribution. Edward Hoxsie studied marketing in college. Mr. Hoxsie began his career working as a page on the lot of Paramount Pictures and has worked his way up to the position of Senior Vice President of Worldwide Product Production and Fulfillment.
Hi, it's Edward Hoxsie, Senior Vice President of Worldwide Product Production and Fulfillment. You're watching Made in Hollywood. Here is a scene from Arrival.
We need to make sure that they understand the difference between a weapon and a tool. Language is messy and sometimes one can be both.
As Senior Vice President of Product Production and Fulfillment, which is a very long title, what exactly do you do?
So I have 2 groups, one that does production, which would be things like DVDs and Blu-rays and UHDs, and another group that does fulfillment, which would be all the digital deliveries. If you see something on iTunes, it comes through my group, or on TV, or in hotels. Anything you see a Paramount movie after theatrical runs through one of my groups.
Are you dreaming in their language? It's possible they're prodding us to fight among ourselves.
This is just a way to force us to work together for once.
Did you always know that this is the career that you wanted?
I can't say I always knew or wanted to be in this industry, but at a very young age, my mother put me into the industry when I was 6 months old, and I did extra work for 16 years. And after I went to school, I came to the studio. I had a friend that worked here, and I needed a job. And the job that I got was actually a page, which is basically a person that shows the studio and walks around. And I thought it would be a neat thing to come back and do it for like a summer or a year and see where it went. And I ended up working for a gentleman that did new business development. And at that time, in that new business development was this format called a DVD. And I have not looked back since that time.
They're not our enemy.
We need to talk to them.
It's more complicated than that.
How is it more complicated?
Russia just executed one of their own to keep their secret.
Once you came into that position, how did you learn all the skills that you would need to know?
Number one thing, movie lover. I'm totally into movies, discovery, technology. My house is full of it. And it's so neat to come to work and get all this equipment and try it firsthand. And throughout the years, you meet other people like Mike, who does the technical services, and you start to realize that everyone has different passions, but the main thing is that we're into movies. And he's very much an engineer, and I'm very much more like a marketing guy, but we can totally mix that together and have this kind of relationship.
How do we clarify their intentions?
I go back in.
Why does this feel worse?
When you hire people, what kind of qualities do you look for in them?
They have to be ready to work, number one thing. 2, great into movies. And number 3, are willing to learn and be very flexible. They don't really teach you that in school. This industry is very fast. Things can happen from week to week. And if you cannot adapt well, you will not survive.
What is she doing? You are committing an act of treason.
Do you trust me?